the mud, what I'm made up. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, so we need to talk about this really disturbing event you shared, the explosion at the fertility clinic down in Palm Springs. It's the kind of news that just stops you in your tracks. You immediately want to know what happened, why it happened.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to try and do here. Let's really dig into this CBS Los Angeles report and, try to piece together what went down.
Right. So as we go through this, what are we focusing on? What are the key questions we need answers to?
Well, first, just the incident itself, right? The explosion, when, where.
Yeah.
Then the suspect, who they think it was, and crucially, the motive. What could possibly drive something like this?
Okay. And the aftermath.
Yes, definitely the aftermath. The investigation, how the clinic was impacted, and of course, the community's reaction.
Got it. Let's start right at the beginning then. The report gives us a date and time.
It does. Saturday, May 17th, 2025. Just a bit before 11:00 a.m. Pacific time.
And the location, North Indian Canyon Drive.
That's right, near East Techepa Drive in Palm Springs. Specifically, 1199 North Indian Canyon Drive. That address, it's American Reproductive Centers, an IVF clinic.
Right, in vitro fertilization, helping people start families.
Exactly.
And this wasn't a minor thing. The article uses the term large vehicle-borne improvised explosive device, a VBIED.
Yeah, VBIED, basically a car bomb. And this one was apparently quite large. The report says the blast was felt over a mile away.
A mile? Wow.
Mm-hmm. And initially, 4 people were injured. Thankfully, it seems they weren't clinic staff.
Okay, that's something, I guess. But still terrible. What about damage?
Oh, significant damage to buildings nearby. And debris scattered over a 250-foot radius. That's a big area.
Yeah, that really paints a picture. I saw the quote from Police Chief Andy Mills said the blast field covered several blocks. Severe damage.
And think about the location. It's near the Desert Regional Medical Center, the main hospital there.
Right.
And it's just a few blocks from the downtown business district, too. Not some remote spot. It's close to the historic movie colony neighborhood as well.
So, right in a populated area. Okay, let's shift to the person they believe is responsible.
The report identifies him as Guy Edward Bartkus. He was 25, lived in 29 Palms.
29 Palms.
What?
That's out near the Marine Base, right?
Yeah.
About an hour from Palm Springs.
Roughly, yeah. And the FBI seems to believe he's the person they found near the vehicle.
Okay.
Though, official confirmation of his death was still pending when this report came out.
And the vehicle was a Ford Fusion silver 2010 model.
That's what the report states, yes.
Yeah.
A 2010 silver Ford Fusion sedan.
Now, the motive. This is the part that's just so hard to grasp. Nihilistic ideations. Opposing bringing people into the world against their will.
It's profoundly disturbing. That specific alleged motive, based on writings or recordings they found, it suggests this fundamental rejection of life, of procreation itself. It's quite an extreme and frankly chilling viewpoint.
Yeah, chilling is the right word. And he tried to live stream it. That detail is awful.
That's part of the ongoing investigation, yes.
Was this someone known to law enforcement? Did the FBI have him on their radar?
Apparently not. The FBI stated he wasn't on their radar before this.
So it just came out of nowhere, seemingly.
It suggests that, a sudden turn towards this kind of extreme violence.
Okay, let's talk about the response. The FBI is leading the investigation now.
Yes. And they've made some strong statements, calling it the largest bombing they've investigated in Southern California.
Largest ever. Wow.
And labeling it an intentional act of terrorism.
Terrorism, that term carries a lot of weight.
It certainly does. It implies, not just the physical act, but the intent to create fear, to disrupt society beyond the immediate target.
It sounds like the local response was incredibly fast, though. Palm Springs police and fire.
Very fast. On the scene quickly, the report actually says fire units got there within 1 minute.
1 minute. That's incredible.
Yeah, that quick response was likely vital. And the investigation expanded quickly, too, with that search warrant out in 29 Palms.
Right. They evacuated some homes there as a precaution.
They did. Just a precaution, though. Authorities said they didn't believe there was any ongoing threat in that area.
But back in Palm Springs, the main streets near the clinic, Indian Canyon and Palm Canyon, they were still closed.
Yes, closed for evidence collection. Understandable, given the scale. They mentioned reopening other surrounding streets, though.
And officials like the police chief and the mayor pro tem, they were trying to reassure people.
Absolutely. Chief Mills and Naomi Soto both emphasized that Palm Springs is safe, that this was, contained, and there's no continuing threat.
Right.
projecting resilience.
Makes sense. Good to see the FBI and ATF are helping out too, sending agents.
Yes, that federal assistance is pretty standard for something of this magnitude.
And they ask the public for help, like don't touch debris.
Right. Standard procedure, leave potential evidence undisturbed, call the authorities, helps them build the full picture.
Let's talk about the clinic itself, American Reproductive Centers. What was the immediate impact there? Dr. Maher Abdallah gave a statement.
Yes, and considering everything, it was remarkably positive news in a way.
How so?
Well, he confirmed the buildings were damaged, obviously,
Yeah.
but, and this is crucial, the staff were unharmed.
Okay, that's a huge relief.
And perhaps just as importantly for the people they serve, the IVF lab itself and the stored embryos. They were safe.
Wow. All of them.
That's what Dr. Abdallah stated, and the FBI later confirmed it too. All embryos saved.
That's incredibly fortunate amidst such destruction. The relief for those families must be immense.
Absolutely immense. And remarkably, the clinic was even planning to reopen on Monday. That shows incredible resilience.
It really does. Did the report say if there were any threats beforehand against this clinic or others?
No. It specifically mentions that neither this center nor related groups like the American Coalition for Telemedicine had received any threats.
So again, it points to this being sudden, targeted, but without prior warning signs.
Exactly. That seems to be the picture emerging.
How did the wider community and officials react? You mentioned the mayor pro tem.
Right. There was a Palm Springs City Facebook post acknowledging the blast, but emphasizing the city's strength.
That kind of will bounce back message.
Pretty much. Chief Mills also spoke very strongly, condemning the act, talking about determination. And importantly, he specifically mentioned the IVF community, acknowledging their heartbreak.
That's good. Recognizing the very personal impact. It wasn't just a building, it was people's hopes.
Precisely. Mayor Pro Tem Soto also called it isolated, stressed unity, called Palm Springs, a city of love and hope, really trying to counter any fear.
And it went beyond local officials too, right? State and federal.
Yes. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi posted on social media condemning violence against a fertility clinic, and California Governor Gavin Newsom also posted, expressing concern and pledging state support for the investigation.
So a lot of high-level attention pretty quickly.
Definitely signals the seriousness of the event.
And just briefly, those eyewitness accounts, feeling the shaking 500 yards away, thinking a plane crash.
Yeah, those really bring home the sheer force of it, the shock and, the immediate confusion it must have caused for people nearby.
Okay, so let's try to pull this together. We have this targeted bombing at an IVF clinic. The suspect, now deceased, seems driven by this really bizarre nihilistic ideology against procreation.
Right, which is, as we said, deeply disturbing and unusual.
There's significant damage, but thankfully the clinic staff were okay, and crucially the embryos were safe.
Yes, and the clinic plans to reopen quickly.
And the community, while shaken, is getting strong messages of resilience and safety from officials.
That's a good summary of where things stood based on that report.
It's that alleged motive that just sticks with you, though. It feels different, not like other extremist motives we often hear about.
It really does stand out. Very specific and fundamentally anti-life in a way.
It makes you think, doesn't it, about how these, I guess, deeply personal, maybe isolated ideologies can just erupt into such violence.
Yeah.
And the specific targeting of a place dedicated to creating families. What kind of wider conversations might this awful event spark about life, creation, and maybe the pressures or anxieties that could twist into something like this?
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Bobby doll. Show them all what I'm made